on the backs of firefighters who apparently, for the last 8 to 10 years, have prevented this city from going bankrupt. I think the firefighters are owed a thank you.
Welcome back. In 29 days, Bayou City voters will decide whether Houston firefighters should have pay parity with Houston police. Now, over the past decade, firefighter pay has risen 3%, while police have bargained for wage hikes totaling 37%. While that fact is not in dispute, just about everything else is. Mayor Sylvester Turner says firefighters have rejected raises totaling 13%, and insists the cost of pay parity will cripple the city financially, forcing hundreds, if not thousands, of layoffs. Firefighters say they've been purposely shortchanged by a succession of mayors and are going directly to taxpayers for justice. Saturday, Fire Union President Marty Langton went head-to-head with the mayor in a Prop B debate before the Harris County Democratic Party.
And you pay not only firefighters and police officers for the job that they do, you pay them for the job they're willing to do, which is to sacrifice their life for any one of the citizens of Houston.
Cannot afford to give any one group $100 million a year without forcing layoffs and severe disruption in city services.
Bill King went to that debate. What was your read on what you saw?
Well, I don't think there was a lot of new ground covered in the debate. It was pretty much a repeat of the talking points on the two sides. Basically, the firefighters are arguing that they've been treated unfairly, and I think that's pretty clearly the case. Turner's arguing that we can't afford this. And there's no question is a costly provision that's going to cause some belt tightening at the city. I do think that Turner's surrogates have begun to wildly exaggerate both the amount of the cost of it and also the consequences. You know, my original projection was about $80 million. The controller came out this week with almost exactly the same numbers I had. Which is about a 15 to 18% raise, depending on exactly how you calculate it. So I think this stuff about a 29%, 32% raise, $100 million or more, I think that's all a bunch of nonsense, and there's not going to be a bunch of layoffs, but it is going to cause some problems with the budget. I think the firefighters need to do a better job of talking about how they might help pay for that. For example, why don't we stop sending a fire truck every time we have an ambulance call and some of those kind of things, and I think that would help their cause in getting this passed.
Tomaro, you have been in the thick of this fight. You want to talk about that?
For full disclosure, because of my deep involvement in this as a volunteer with Super Neighborhood Alliance looking into city finances, I have been engaged by the anti-pay parity ballot. So I want to let you all know that because I did my homework. So listen, let me tell y'all. Okay, and now, first off, the firefighters always are talking about the pay. They never talk about their pension, which surpasses municipal and police. They get 80% now after pension reform. The police get 50%. The municipal workers, no, the police get about 60. The municipal get 45 to 50. And I'm telling you, having your pension earn money is a whole lot better than what you get on the daily, because what you get on the daily you spend for your living and for your family. So they never want to mention about the differences because they're asking for equity in pay when they sacrifice to increase their pension, and they're not moving the police pension up to those. So you don't have pay parity and you don't have equal pay. In addition to that, for them to turn around and say that they were done wrong because they chose the union, as they keep correcting me, the firefighters, the union chose to take increase in pension over increase in pay. Now that that has changed, they want to make up for all the years. The reason the police got the 36, they didn't turn it down. In addition to that, when Lee Brown was here, we had real pay parity. We had what was called evergreen. They got 2% every year. The firefighters decided to part from the police, and they always are constantly talking about when the pension reform happened and the bond came out, they got none of the money. They got none of the money because they lent the city none of the money. The people who kept the city from going bankrupt was the police pension and municipal workers who lent the city in excess of $1.5 billion. The firefighters said, no, hell no, we ain't lending y'all nothing.
Hold on here now. I want to hear from Jessica from a political perspective because, you know, you've got very popular firefighters. They have a very effective ground game in that they're going out and going door to door. We've got a media campaign by the anti-B PAC as well as the mayor. How do you see this going down from a political perspective?
Well, I know the facts to be as Tomaro states them. You know, having watched legislative sessions for many, many years, the firefighters have held on to their pension with just dug their teeth in for session after session. I'm not faulting them for that. That has been their position, however. Their pension has been the definition of how they incorporate their monies, you know, for over the lifetime of their career. And the facts are, as I know them to be, as Tomaro has stated them. However, I respect Bill's opinion greatly and appreciate what he's saying as to, you know, what the firefighters are asking for and the impact that's going to have on city budget. Politically, I think this remains a very complicated issue at the very bottom of the ballot in a midterm election year. And if you've seen the language of this ballot proposition, it's a disaster. It is a disaster. And I think that when it literally is one page single spaced, and I think that when people get, if they get to the very bottom of the ballot, and they're looking at this, I think it's very confusing, and I think it's going to be tough for folks to get through that. Besides, this debate is in a rather unprecedented format that we've seen, where the mayor is debating a firefighter union president. So I think that we've seen a lot of new ground broken in this situation, but I think that at the end of the day, voters might be apathetic to this and lose the entire point of the message.
We shall see. I'm sure we'll talk about it again. All right, when we come back, it's time for Your Point, tweets and posts from our viewers. After the break, make sure to tweet using the hashtag WYP.